If you've used the internet recently, you know Apple just released their new MacBook Pros with the new Touch Bar. Now, I got mine a couple days ago. Full disclosure, I love this thing. But today I want to talk about some of the more notable changes Apple made with this computer and what you really need to know about this new laptop. So real quick, I want to go over my specific model to give you a little context for the rest of the video. This is a MacBook Pro 13-inch with Touch Bar, slightly upgraded CPU, and 16 gigs of RAM, full specs on screen right now, and it came in at around $2,000. So the first big change I want to talk about is the Touch Bar. Obviously, that is one of the biggest changes Apple made, and honestly, it's one of the only really innovative features Apple has added to their products in a while. But a lot of people are worried, is it a gimmick? Is it actually useful, or is it just like a toy like Force Touch kind of was? I personally don't use Force Touch on my iPhone at all. Is it like that, or is it actually useful? For the most part, it's actually awesome. So not only is it just fun to play around with, but it actually has some useful functions associated with it. So obviously, it has the regular functions that are just a little bit more fun because it's now a touchscreen, but then there's things like the emoji keyboard in messages that lets you choose the emoji right there. Absolutely awesome. And in Safari, when you're watching a YouTube video, you have a scrubber down there. It's little simple things that really add to the experience. But there are some problems. More complex applications like Final Cut will try to pack a ton of functionality into the Touch Bar, and it'll just be too much at once. And I guess once you get used to it, it might be faster, but it's just way too much going on in such a small little area. And the other problem is just application support in general. Like I said, you can scrub a video in Safari, but if you're watching YouTube on Google Chrome, there's no scrubber there because it's Chrome and there hasn't been support for that yet. Or like Premiere, there's no functionality with Adobe Premiere, whereas Final Cut, you have all that functionality. But that will change hopefully over time. The second big change I want to talk about is the keyboard. So this is a slightly upgraded keyboard over the 12-inch MacBook, which I didn't love because there was so little travel. I like mechanical keyboards with a lot of travel, but even though there's not that much travel, it's not all bad. So the way they designed this new one is it's still tactile without necessarily the travel of a normal tactile switch. So it still feels kind of good and I can still type really fast on it. Honestly, it comes down to just getting used to these specific keys and then you'll be fine on it. So the third change I want to talk about are the speakers. So now there are these two upward facing speakers that are on either side of the keyboard and they sound amazing. So much better than all the previous models of the 13-inch MacBook Pro. Not only do they get really loud and really crisp, but they actually have some of the low and mid end right there. So it really sounds good. Here's a quick audio test. The fourth change I want to talk about is speed or specs. A lot of people are worried it's not going to be that much faster than previous generations because on paper it doesn't look like it'll be that much faster than previous generations, but do not be fooled. Not only is it incredibly fast, it is faster than previous generations. My friend Jonathan Morrison did a video comparing the speed of this to the older generations, and long story short, it is faster, especially in real world scenarios like in Final Cut or something like that. I'll go link that in the description below, definitely go check it out. The fifth and final change I want to talk about is I/O. So yes, it really only does have 4 USB-C ports and a headphone jack. Thankfully, they kept the headphone jack. I'm all aboard the USB-C train, but the adapter life is real. I've been using this adapter from Satechi. It just plugs into a USB-C port. It's in the space gray color. And then you have USB ports and an SD card reader and stuff like that. So as long as I have this on me, I'm good. But if I don't have it on me, I'm kind of screwed. So just know that if you get this laptop, you will need to be carrying around adapters. So that's gonna be it for this video. Next week, I'll have a video comparing the pros and cons of this laptop a little bit more in depth. So look forward to that. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more content. And as always, stay classy.